This is the Johnny Cleveland Podcast, all things Cleveland sports, with your host, John Suchan. Good evening and welcome to another of, that's right, the Johnny Cleveland Podcast. We are coming to you on the new Fanatical Elfz Network. We are excited to be here, and we have part of our new team, which I'm very excited to get to talk to today on this next up on this latest edition. So we welcome, we've got Steve Gill and Joel Cade, and they are part of our new Fanatical Elfz Network here, part of Fans First Sports Network. We kind of talked a little bit about this last week, and us three, we're part of this new team, and we've got some other guys on the group that are going to be doing some other shows. Excited to have everybody aboard and glad to see here. Steve and Joel, good evening. How are you?
Excellent.
Howdy.
Excellent. Well. Let me just kind of give you a little bit of a rundown, and then I'll let Steve and Joel kind of chat a little bit about who they are. I know that I've known these guys for a little bit of time. Steve has written for Cleveland Sports Talk, also has his own blog, and Steve and I have done a couple podcasts in the past. Diehard Browns fan all the way down south there in the great state of Tennessee. And Joel is a great contributor to Dog Pound Daily, a great writer, very insightful, and really enjoyed reading some of his material there. He writes for, like I said, Dog Pound Daily, part of Fansided. So welcome to the both of you. Steve, I just wanted, if you have anything you'd like to share out before we start tackling all these deep Cleveland Brown topics.
Lifelong Browns fan. Saw Jim Brown play when I was a kid. My dad always had tickets. Living in Nashville, Tennessee hasn't deterred me from being a diehard former president of the Middle Tennessee Browns backers. Right. There's a hardcore group down here. I always have utmost respect for Browns fans, but even more for Browns fans who live in other NFL team cities. Because we got to put up with a lot of crap, but
yes, we do.
But it's Browns forever for me. So.
Well, I was out there in Kansas. I always say on this show, and I was the Browns backers president of the Wichita Oz chapter, and we were a hardy bunch.
I love it.
We were a hardy bunch. Yeah, we had the dirty dozen, we would call the guys that would sit around the big table drinking beers and brews, and there were about 13 of them. They'd be there every Sunday, so for years. But Steve, it's great to have you on the show, and great to have you contributing with all the things, all your knowledge about the Browns and the history and moving forward. So really glad that you're part of this team. Hi, Joel. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Excellent.
I have no idea how I'm going to follow that pedigree, man. So I'll tell him myself. I actually grew up a Bengals fan. Boo. Yeah. Speaking of living in alternate territories, I live in the Cincinnati area, so I get all the Bengals fans, Bengals games, Bengals everything. But when I was in college, I went to college in the Chicago area.
Okay.
Actually, I went to college where the Bears naturally train now.
Oh.
And during my time there, the Browns ended up leaving. And of course, I'm the Ohio guy, so everybody wants to know what I know about the Browns. And
yes.
Latched on, knew I had to get my Browns knowledge together, and then when they came back, and it's like, I'm just a Browns fan. Eventually, you just wake up one morning and you realize you're a Browns fan, and you don't care about anybody else anymore. So that's kind of how it worked for me. So I've been a Browns fan since. I played football in college, coached football, coached Pee Wee, junior high, high school, coached college football. I played and coached offensive line, defensive line.
Okay.
So I like to talk about those kinds of things. You know.
Well, have you gotten a phone call from the Browns this offseason, by the way,
No.
for the offensive line?
Got a pretty smart crew, so they know not to talk to me. You know, if they ever wanted my opinion, they can just go to Dog Pound Daily and read my opinion.
That's right. That's right. I love your writing. Both of you guys are excellent writers. Read you guys every week, and we got some really good guys here on this network. I had a chance to talk to some of the other folks, part of the Fan First Network, last night. Some of the folks that are really started this up. You know, I explained in the last podcast how a lot of these guys came over from the SB Nation, part of Fox Sports, with their podcasting, and they kind of eliminated a lot of that podcasting there. They've come over, created this brand new, wonderful new network, and we're trying to spread the word. So if you're out there, you're listening to this, follow us, follow our Twitter page. It's the Elfz Network at Elfz, ELFZ Network. Follow Fans First Network. There's a lot of great affiliates across the country. Just had a opportunity to talk to those horrible Steeler fans. You know, they've got quite the program there. Got to meet some of the Saints, the Cowboys affiliates. So even had some of those terrible Bengals there last night. We talked to them a little bit.
Displaced Reds fans?
Yeah, displaced Reds fans. I know. Well, nice to have you on board. So let's talk some Browns right now. I guess we've had a lot of really interesting moves here this offseason. I kind of talked about them a little bit last week, but Joel, we'll start with you. What are your, and Steve, you want to chime in at any point, the best moves that they've made so far? What do you like the most? Joel, you want to start?
We're talking for the Browns this offseason?
Yeah, anything that you're seeing here.
Is Jim Schwartz.
Yes.
Jim Schwartz is the best move. And I'm going to say this from a defensive line perspective. We've been asking defensive linemen to play gap control, shoot gaps, and control the gaps. Now, for whatever reason, our defensive linemen shoot gaps and don't stop and control the gap. They just run into the backfield. Maybe they're all taking their cues from Myles Garrett, who that's like his move. That's like his only move.
Right.
That's like his move. But what they've done is they've failed to protect their linebackers, because now these offensive linemen can run up and just 300-pound people beat up on 250-pound linebackers. The scheme never really made sense for the players that they have.
Okay.
I mean, for example, Tommy Togiai out of Ohio State was a great double gap player.
Okay.
That if you want, but it was a great double gap player at Ohio State. You get him in to the Browns, and then you ask him to single gap. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
So I think getting Jim Schwartz, getting back to a double gap scheme on the front is going to be a lot. Now, a double gap scheme means when a defensive lineman can cover the A gap and the B gap, or the B gap and the C gap, depending on where they're lined up. So their job is to fire into the offensive lineman, determine how they're trying to be blocked, counter that, and run to the ball and make a play. As opposed to line up in a gap and run through the gap without getting blocked. It's a whole different mindset for defensive linemen, and I think it's better for the people that we have.
Okay.
Minus Myles Garrett. This will not play to Myles Garrett's strength. So it would be fascinating to see what Schwartz does and how he can adapt.
Will he move him around more? Like, what do you anticipate seeing?
I think first you got to teach him how to play double gap schemes.
Okay.
If that's what you want to do with him, or you let him single gap and do his thing, and then playing everybody else around him. I get that concept too.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, you've got Ogbanaya. Is that how you say it? Ogbanaya.
I don't.
He's another quick, twitchy guy.
Yes.
So they've got to find a way to get these quick, twitchy guys and big, fat guys that control the middle all working together. I think it's doable. Jim Schwartz is a good coach, and I think that's one of the best things they've done, period, in this organization for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
Greg Williams.
Yeah. Steve, what do you think as far as that move, those moves with Schwartz, and anything else that you see right off the top?
First of all, Joel stole my thunder, and second of all, now I want to run through a brick wall. But ooh, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. It's those linemen,
I like
man.
I like both the coaching moves. Bubba Ventrone.
Oh yes.
You got to look at last year. Special teams costs this team at least 4 games, at least maybe 6. So, and then I've seen Jim Schwartz's defense here in Nashville when he was advising with the Titans and when he was coaching with the Titans. He can take an average to good player and make them very good. Yeah. Quickly. Yeah. And I am pumped on that. As for the players, I really wanted Juan Thornhill. Yeah. He was one of the guys I wanted. Yeah. And Jordan Atkins, the tight end. Those were 2 guys that were on my offense-defense wish list. Was it a surprise to the Browns? From the reading, some of the reaction that Atkins move, they weren't really looking at him but that he was there, and so it was a reasonable move for the Browns to make. I think it was a great move. He's a big physical tight end. I mean, and plus you got to add the other great thing, and Andrew Berry always pulls this off. The Elijah Moore trade. I mean, he essentially got Elijah Moore, if you look at the value charts, for a 4th-round pick. That's astonishing. Yes. I loved Elijah Moore when he came out of Ole Miss. I was hoping the Browns would draft him. He's got close to a 0 drop rate. He catches everything, and he can play outside, inside. Last year with the Jets, I think he played 51% outside, 49% inside the slot. So you can put him anywhere on the field. I mean, I know there were no big, huge names that all the Cleveland media were pushing. Yeah, that was a little. I think Andrew Berry did a great job. He addressed needs, but like Joel said, the first 2 great moves he made were Bubba Ventrone and Jim Schwartz.
So let me ask you guys this: we're talking about
what's that?
I wouldn't sleep on Bill Musgrave because Musgrave comes from a very wide open system. And that's what Deshaun Watson did in college and for most of his time in Houston. And I have a hard time wrapping my head around the idea that we're getting Elijah Moore, some speedy receivers. We're stacking that receiver room so we can put 3 tight ends and the fullback on the field. I just think the offense is going to look a lot different next year. And it's probably going to look a lot more wide open. I think we're going to look a lot more like the Kansas City Chiefs and less like the San Francisco 49ers. Okay.
There you go.
I don't think the offense is going to run through Nick Chubb anymore. It's going to run through Deshaun Watson.
What?
The offense ran through Deshaun Watson.
Why is it, Joel? Randy still thinks you guys there. A couple of you guys are. Randy's always accusing me of being the guy, the run the damn ball. Where did I get that reputation?
I don't know. You're a very passionate individual, John.
That's true. That's true. So let me just ask this about Jim Schwartz. The fact we've talked a lot about Jim Schwartz and Bubba. Is there added heat now? We talked at the end of last season with Stefanski, having a rough end of the season. Is there any more stress or pressure on him now that you've got a good veteran coach like Schwartz, who's should he be threatened? Should Stefanski feel the heat more? Anybody want to go on that one?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think he has confidence enough in Schwartz that he doesn't really have to worry about the defense. Schwartz will handle the defense. He can concentrate on Watson and the offense. That's bottom line.
And pull down that Denny's menu from his face.
Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
The Denny's menu. Come on. Look, NFL coaches, new NFL coaches, like first year head coaches, come in and they hire a staff. It is very common.
Yes.
That after that first season, they fire one or both coordinators. That's very common.
Yeah.
And Joe Woods stuck around for a while, probably too long. Okay. And now, Stefanski's bringing in veterans, right? He's bringing in Schwartz. That's going to allow Stefanski to focus on the offense. You're going to bring in Bill Musgrave.
Yeah.
I personally think Musgrave is the de facto offensive coordinator, period. And that's my opinion.
Yeah.
And you're going to let Stefanski operate and do some of the things that he needed to be doing a little bit of better job last year with, which is managing the locker room, managing. He does manage the game very, very well.
Yeah.
But managing the meetings,
Good point.
Managing a lot of things that head coaches manage. So he's taking things off his plate. I don't think there's going to be more pressure. I think it's going to be more of like he's going to settle in.
Yeah,
so I see this as
great.
a first year of settling in to what his job is. Maybe he came in a little bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like I want to run the offense, want to run this and run this and run that. And now he's kind of like, whoa, I've done this for a few years. I need to delegate some things to some people.
Yeah.
Right? Let's hire some people we trust. Let's get a different defense in here. I don't think there's more pressure. I think it's time to relax.
Yeah.
Let's settle in and
let's get behind Coach Stefanski. Let's go.
I think Stefanski's a really good coach.
Oh yeah.
Keep him around.
His background, I mean, he's been successful everywhere, and even high school, college, when he was an athlete. Very astute, very smart guy, and just hopefully we'll see those successes. Steve, is there anything on? Yeah,
I love the fact that he got on the podcast and said that he played Madden and that helped him to develop some of his skills. And I tell you,
that was great.
I've taught all my kids football. Okay,
yeah,
all of them. I taught them all how to watch it, play it, break it down, all of it through Madden, because it's like the easiest platform to really learn football.
That's awesome.
I play my kids in football now, and they're like,
"We got to come up with
that was dumb. Why didn't you do this coverage or that coverage? You should have done this in this situation." I'm like, I give up.
Dude, Joel, that's a new idea for a podcast, man. If we're going to do a podcast, let's bring in Madden, man. We can do a whole show. You can break down and that would be fascinating.
Madden is a video game.
What now?
Madden is a video game. It's not real life football.
Oh, it's not
real life football, but Madden is a video game.
I got you.
Things that work in Madden don't work in real life.
And so, hey, Steve, let me go to you real quick. Let's look forward just a little bit. I know you've been probably tracking this a little bit with the free agents, some players that are out there still. I'm working on an article that would be like some bargains that are possible for the Browns. What do you see, Steve, right now as far as a couple guys that potentially Cleveland could grab? Do you have anybody in mind?
I'd like them to at least sign another safety. I've got my eyes on what's his name? Joshua Kalul, who played for the Titans last year. He's kind of like do everything.
Yeah,
number 4 or 5 safety. They could get him veteran minimum. You've got Roddy McLeod still out there.
Right.
I mean, you can sign a good.
Where's McLeod play last year? Where was he? Tell me again where he was.
He was Indianapolis.
Okay.
So, yeah, usually, I'm a salary cap guy because I'm an accountant, so I had to become a salary cap guy. I'm not as dedicated as Jack Duffin is, who's
that's right.
Fabulous.
Jack's great at that stuff. Yeah.
But last year, Andrew Berry spent about 117% of the salary cap, and right now he's at about 114%. So he could still add a few free agents. I don't think they'll be like Fast and Furious type stuff. It's like the guard center they just signed, Wes Martin. It's kind of under radar kind of thing.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, and those kind of signings.
Where do
we? But he needs they need another veteran safety. I like D'Anthony Bell, but we need another veteran safety.
Any other ones out there, Joel, you have? Or the other question I had for both of you is, we're talking about, I didn't mention this on our notes earlier, but Kareem Hunt, he's still sitting out there. I wrote a little bit piece about him last week. Maybe thoughts on that? Or do you think that, where does he end up going? Is it going to be something where he doesn't get signed by somebody until training camp? Thoughts on that, Joel? Or any other free agents?
It's interesting to talk about this with a salary cap guy, but I love Kareem Hunt. Love it. Loved it when they picked him up. I'm absolutely all for second chance guys.
Yes.
People get so mad about these second chance guys. They did this. you don't win football games with Boy Scouts. That was Mike Pettin, and I think he's absolutely right. You don't win football games with Boy Scouts. And Kareem Hunt is not a Boy Scout, but he's a good football player. I'm not sure you give a running back a third contract.
Yeah.
I mean, he just finished his second one. He did not end the season with a bang. So he's going to be one of those 1-year prove-it deals with a team that needs a receiving running back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can see him going back to Kansas City. I can see
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Maybe a team that's just looking like a team that's got a workhorse like the Browns. You need a third down guy for Hunt. I mean,
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to identify teams. I'm just saying this guy is a third down specialty player at this point.
Right. Now, that as far as the Browns picking up anybody else, I mean, they might find somebody in the draft, but then there's like that McKinnon guy who was playing for the Chiefs. I know, like Randy and I have talked about him a little bit. That might be an interesting last-minute pickup for the Browns. I forget the kid's name.
I think the
kid from Kansas City.
Yeah, the kid from Kansas City. Yeah, McKinnon. Yeah.
Yeah. The trend there is to get a small guy that can like run routes and be dangerous in the open field. I mean, that's where offenses kind of work. I mean, and that's not really Nick Chubb's game. I mean, Nick Chubb is get in a hole and run through it and then run over 2 or 3 people on the way to the end zone.
I mean, the way that you guys describe the offense coming up, I mean, it's going to be a run and gun. I mean, Chubb should have, with that wide open offense, when he does get carries, he should be able to, get gaps and yardage.
I think Chubb is going to have a good year. It's going to be picking and choosing spots. Like, I think the offense is primarily going to be a running option style or a throwing option style offense. But when you get the right numbers in the box, he's going to be very dangerous. So if you got 6 in the box versus 5 in the box, I mean, Nick Chubb's going to run over somebody, and that's going to be super dangerous. So I think Chubb's going to have a good year. If he, but it's going to be, you got to find the right boxes.
Yes. Yeah. Steve, what are your thoughts on Chubb going forward this next? You think you're anticipating a good year?
I anticipate a very good year. He's Nick Chubb. Come on.
Yeah. That's where I think people and that's where I know that he's just a running back, but he's a special running back, and people this conversation that kind of like he's entering a zone where he'll end up being the second behind Jim Brown if he gets, and like you talked earlier, Joel, if he gets that third, does he get a third contract? I don't know, but Steve, what are your thoughts? Yeah.
Well, this draft is loaded with running backs. I mean, you could get an extremely good back on day 3.
Yeah.
And Andrew Berry proves that he gets ready for players to leave by drafting.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt gone. Hello, Jerome Ford. So, so I could see him drafting somebody late. I mean, the third day.
There's a kid out of East Carolina that I like. Man, he had some speed. I can't think of the kid's last name, but
I can't either. The kid from Kansas State, the kid from Northwestern.
Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce Vaughn. I love Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah.
Hey, staying on Nick Chubb here. I mean, I'm just going to tell you, this one I get to toot my own horn. When that draft came around with Saquon Barkley, I wrote article after article about how the real gem of this draft is Nick Chubb. And I remember this was when I would offer to all the Dogtown Daily writers, hey, if you want to learn how to scout, you want to learn how to break down film, I'll do this with you all day long. And someone wanted to learn how to break down tight ends. Like, all right, we'll watch this Penn State game. He was interested in Mike Gesicki. So I picked the Penn State versus Georgia game, right? So
really?
You've got Nick Chubb in that game, and you've got the other guy that went to New England.
Sonny Michel.
Sonny Michel.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So I'm like, who's this Nick Chubb guy? He hits the hole. He runs through the hole. He runs through people. He's got great vision.
Yeah.
What in the world? And, so we're watching Penn State, right? So I'm watching Saquon Barkley on the other side of the ball, and I'm like, how do people think Saquon Barkley is better than Nick Chubb? He just runs side to side like Barry Sanders, looking to dodge everybody. But he's not going to do that in the NFL, and he hasn't. Basically.
Right.
He's not going to be able to dodge him in the NFL, but if he can break loose, he's pretty good. But I remember writing article after article like, Nick Chubb, draft Nick Chubb, draft Nick Chubb. And then they went to the second round, right? And they got the second and the fourth pick, I think is what it was.
Okay.
And they picked Austin Corbett. I about lost it.
Oh,
Like, why would you pick Austin Corbett over Nick Chubb? And then luckily he fell to the next Browns pick and they took him. I was like throwing a party. But Nick Chubb is everything you want in a running back, particularly in an outside zone style offense. He's the perfect fit.
yeah.
The question just is, what are the Browns doing on offense, and what's his role going to be? And you're probably going to have somebody that's younger and faster and better hands than Kareem Hunt, and cheaper.
Yeah, Steve, what do you
Yeah.
when you're looking at you've looked at the draft, third round, we got the 74th pick. I guess first, I mean, we're going to keep that pick, or we're going to move down a little bit. What are your initial look? What are you thinking there? That 74 pick, and are we talking running backs? Are we going to wait for the later rounds? I'm thinking probably, but Steve, what are your initial takes? And then Joel, I'll follow.
Well, I have no idea. That's the beauty of free agency and Andrew Berry. He does free agency, so he doesn't have to be pigeonholed for a certain player. I could see a linebacker. I could see, I could see him dropping down a little bit. There's a guy.
I'm sorry. There's a guy. I apologize, Steve. Go ahead.
He always gets picks for next year. I mean, he trades picks to get picks for next year. And looking at this roster right now, you're pretty much got your 53. So is he going to draft 8 players? Heck no, he's not going to draft 8 players.
Good point. Good.
I agree with that. I do think he'll probably take his third round picks, though. I think it's those 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Maybe,
what is it? What do we have? 74 and 99?
I'm not sure exactly.
98.
98.
Yeah.
Now, what about there's that kid from? I guess what I was. There's a couple linebackers you mentioned, linebackers. So I was looking at the kid from Arkansas. He's kind of a hybrid, sort of an edge linebacker type. Can't think of for the life of me the last name right now. But then the other kid from Iowa that I've written about a little bit.
I think Iowa's Campbell, yeah. And there's also that kid from Army.
Okay. What's his name?
He is weird. He could be as big as a defensive line, but also could be as light as a linebacker. I've seen him on some mock drafts go to the Browns with that 74th pick.
That always becomes the question of, is he going to get a deferral of service to let him play football? I don't know. That's always the question with those academy guys.
It'll be fun.
That's very true.
Regardless, we're going to have a lot of fun here on the network too. We're going to be doing, during the draft. I think we want to do a few shows, especially when the Browns start to get into that, second and third day and start doing some picks. And so looking forward to that. We'll bring you the news right after. I think our plan, talking to the guys at our network last night, we were talking about kind of a game plan and trying to get that out to everybody, right after those picks. And so we can have a little, 10, 15 minute discussion. So looking forward to those kind of things too. But,
I think if you get in the third round, I think the Browns are going to target defensive line. And I will point out they have targeted defensive line, I think, pretty consistently. I mean, they've drafted 3 guys I can think of off the top of my head: Elliott, Togiai, and Winfrey.
Yeah, 2 last year.
Mm-hmm. So I do think they'll target defensive tackle, but it'll be interesting because the Browns have always taken, secondary, particularly corners.
Yeah,
I think that's because Joe Woods has always been we're defending the pass, and tell you we're going to defend the pass. I think the whole defense was set up to we're going to defend the pass, which was why it was so bad against the run.
Right.
Schwartz isn't going to run that kind of defense, so it'll be interesting to see if they decide to use some early quote unquote draft capital this year on defensive tackles, and if they do, what are they drafting in defensive tackle?
Right.
I'll give it.
Go ahead. I wonder if they're going to try to find some small, quick guy, or if they're going to try to find some, fat Andrew Billings kind of guy and put him at nose tackle. I'm off with a big fat guy.
Well, I'll give you a name.
What's the name?
A fat guy dance.
That's right.
I'll give you a name. They met with him at the combine, and they've had him in for a visit. He's from Florida, defensive tackle, Javon Dexter.
Okay.
Now he could be there on the third. He'll be there on the third day.
Okay. Yeah.
So they've already met with him twice.
And that's usually, it seems like the Browns select somebody that we aren't talking about, like right now. Like there's some of these popular names that keep circulating, Benton and other guys that, but yeah, I think you're right. I think that's the kind of name. Dexter, you heard it first here on the Johnny Cleveland podcast, the new Fanatical Elfz Network on
Breaking
Fans
news.
First Sports Network.
Guy's like 310 pounds and runs a 4.840.
Oh,
Today's NFL, man, right there.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Today's NFL.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jeez.
I'll never forget. I can't think of his name from Carolina, the big defensive tackle, Bravion Roy, chasing down our quarterback from behind. Big 330-pound Bravion Roy chasing down Jacoby Brissett and catching him from behind. I'm like, what in the world kind of are we living in right now? The 330-pound Bravion Roy running a 4.840, and that's about what Brissett runs, and he just chasing down from behind. I'm like, what am I watching?
So what are you guys? Steve, go ahead.
There's a new workout video of our new defensive tackle Maurice Hurst on a treadmill at 290 pounds going 21 miles an hour.
Wow.
Well, so much for a heart problem, right? That was in the draft. Remember, he fell in the draft because he had a heart condition.
That's what happened. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that draft. I remember just screaming at my TV, "Draft Maurice Hurst!" Come on.
Yeah. Well, you scream at your TV a lot.
Well,
I only do that during Browns games.
By the way, we have the old repeat run. If you're watching the show on YouTube, I'm recycling the Cleveland Washington game. Steve noted that. Is that game continuing from the last time we had our little meeting? And yes, so it's on a all day loop, kind of like the music in the background here of this wonderful podcast.
Why that game, John? Just curious.
I don't, because it's the only thing that I can pull up on YouTube on my on the right. I'm gonna have to do some research to how to change that out. But
just get some classic games. You can find the Browns Jets playoff game.
I think 1987, the playoff game.
Yeah, get one of those.
I was there, man. Steve, were you there?
Or the 2014 game here in Nashville, the big comeback.
Oh, there you go. There's another one. What other ones we got? Let's see. 99.
I was at that game.
You were there? Yeah. The Tim Couch game where they beat the Saints? Wasn't that another one back?
I was also at that game.
Were you there? Really?
Yeah, I was there. I was down there with the Browns backers.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
we've had some really good. We've had some great, exciting ends to games, and hopefully the Browns can get things, managed, turned around a little bit this year. Last year was, just a lot of things, where it didn't the removal now of Joe Woods and bringing in Jim Schwartz now. I think all these things are hopefully going to, like you said, Joel, relieve Coach Stefanski, kind of give him an opportunity to kind of focus on the offense, which is, right now he's picking up Elijah Moore. Some of the other guys, the other guy that we haven't even talked about, and he's a veteran, and hopefully he makes this team the Marquise Goodwin. I know he's not going to catch a whole bunch of footballs this year, and hopefully he makes the team and gets through spring training, or training camp. But I always liked his backstory. I don't know if you guys probably have followed it maybe a little bit, but he has a sister that has a severe handicap from years ago, and then recently he's had this. His wife and he have had several children. There were some miscarriages and some things like that.
Ooh,
but just a really, really good. I mean, that's not good, but he was a track star at Texas. He ran at the Olympic trials as well prior to coming into the NFL. He just seems like a well-rounded, sort of balanced kind of guy. I think he could help this team from a veteran point. So I'm looking
Veterans
forward to.
Never hurt.
No, not at all. Any final thoughts before we've got a couple things to wrap up, but anything else that you have seen in the last week or some things that you're looking forward to monitoring over the next week or so? From either of you?
I'll start off. I mean, I
Sure.
just heard about Baker Mayfield rumors in Baltimore.
Ah.
I haven't heard know anything about this, but that would make complete sense to me if he turned down something to Baltimore. But for him going to Baltimore makes sense. Todd Monken's there. They run the air raid. He ran the air raid at
Yeah.
Oklahoma. He had Todd Monken here in Cleveland when he had his best year. That would make a lot of sense. I mean, they're going from one kind of simplistic, one option, one read, two read offense to another kind of simplistic 1-2 read offense.
Yeah.
And I think Baker would fit in well in that kind of a system. But if you're going to sit down and ask Baker to read defenses and make accurate passes, you're in trouble. I mean, we've all seen it. So put him back in that air raid stuff that he was doing when he was in Cleveland and they were doing well with it. I think he could be all right. So I'm glad he's not in Baltimore. Doing an air raid because he's actually good at that. So maybe Tampa Bay needs to figure that out. Get themselves.
Yes, he's now the heir to Tom Brady.
So no, sorry, Tampa fans.
Well, I hate to, my wife's family lives in Tampa and they're all Tampa fans, so I gotta listen to that.
That's right.
But, speaking of Baltimore, all I gotta say is karma's a bitch. That's it. Karma, baby. Karma.
100% agree. I literally have a Twitter account that all I do is just troll the Ravens and Ravens fans.
See,
really?
the thing that really upsets me is if Dallas or New England had done that guaranteed contract, they would have been considered geniuses. And we would have heard on ESPN nonstop how well run they are and how trailblazers they are. But Cleveland does it.
I mean, Casey for Dog Pound Daily, Casey? He wrote an article kind of reviewing this last week. Like, just just crazy how these national guys come out. What is it? Rich Eisen and somebody else came out and just basically, again, blaming the Browns. They're getting paid by the NFL. Just absolutely nuts. I mean, it's Cleveland against the world. It's I
mean, I could talk for 45 minutes on this issue, but I'll just keep it real brief.
Go.
People with guaranteed contracts from the NFL complaining about other people trying to get guaranteed contracts in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just sit there and defend billionaires. I mean, word to the wise, they want your money.
Yes.
They don't want to give away money.
Yes.
And if they don't like guaranteed contracts, take out the idiotic rule that you have to put all the assets into an escrow account to cover the contract. They make the rules.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, change it.
Yeah.
It's clear that the NFL Player Association has no power. Just institute a new rule and move on.
Yes. I have one other. So we're going to do this. And I didn't tell you guys, this is kind of a surprise. I'm going to have everybody be very quiet because we have to go to a break so we can put the advertisements in. So when I say break, we're going to all not talk for 3 seconds. And I'm going to turn the music down and then we'll talk when we come back for break. So we're going to go on break. Okay, we're back from break. Thanks. So go ahead and finish your thought there, Joel. I apologize for that. I wanted to.
I think I was done with my thought, but that was amazing.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm learning all these tricks of the trade. So we're back from break. This is the Johnny Cleveland podcast. What I wanted to finish up with, first off, Joel and Steve, appreciate you coming on this show. Part of what we're working on, and Joel and Steve are really going to be part of this, is building this network, our Fanatical Elfz Network too, for the Brownies, and having some additional shows and some additional insight. So as you can tell, if you've listened to this show today, Joel and Steve have a wealth of knowledge when we talk about the Browns. And if you're a fan, like we all are, please make sure to come back and tune in. We're going to be like adding some shows. We're going to have a new show, hopefully starting next week, called the Fanatical Elfz Network show. And so we're going to have these guys back on. Yeah. And we're going to have some other new guys, some other guys. I think I mentioned Rod and then Brad are going to be the other contributors. Actually, Joel is doing a doubleheader today. Joel is going to run over to do his
Iron Man.
He's going to go do his show with Rod. Rod has his own show called the Browns Blitz, and he usually does that with his brother, I believe, Jeff. And so they're going to be doing a show with Joel. And so you're going to get to hear Joel twice over the next couple of days if you tune in back to our network. And our podcasts are going to be, right now we're on Spotify, we're on iHeartRadio, we're on Amazon Music. So make sure that you do a search for our show, and you can listen to us. So Joel, enjoy that later tonight, going over there to talk to Rod. Rod is a great guy. Many of you follow him on Twitter already. Great writer, great contributor, and I'm excited to have him on board as well. Brad, who lives up in Pepper Pike up there in Cleveland, he's going to be on our Johnny Cleveland show. We're going to have our next episode next Tuesday, so tune in for that. So before I leave, on our network, we've been on our Twitter page, we are giving away a Cleveland Browns pullover. So we have actually been able to gather a good following so far. We've got over 200 some followers right now. And so if you're listening to this, or when we put it out there on the air, make sure that you send this to your friends who are Browns fans. Get everybody to follow our shows. So we have a winner. Randomly picked a name out of the hat before the show started. So these are one of our new followers. They also helped retweet our post for the pullover. And our winner his name is Ken. Ken is the Fall Guy 1959. Congratulations, Ken. Yeah.
Woof, Ken.
Congratulations, Ken. We will get that posted on Twitter and whatnot. So please, I hope you tune in and listen to this and hear your name. Ken, you are the winner. So again, congrats.
Congratulations, Ken.
Yes. Yeah. We're just excited to be here to talk Cleveland sport, Cleveland Browns, and look forward to many more of these opportunities. You can tell already that these guys that are with me are gonna really help out and really get this network going. So again, thanks both of you, Joel and Steve, for tuning in. I'm going to turn on our closing music so you can stay there, and we'll quietly.
Wait a minute.
Oh, you got a new hat?
Opening day.
It's opening day, baby.
Oh, there you go. Let's go, Guardians.
That's too bad they're on at like midnight or something tonight.
Yeah, I'll be in bed.
Again, thanks, guys, for being on. Again, this is the Johnny Cleveland podcast, and like I always end the show, everybody remember to, that's right, keep smiling. Oh, let's see here.